But does it give them the right now to act masculine and to make poor choices in the men that they mate with and have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 babies with them? Should I, as a black man who's doing all the right things, as a black man, which most black men I think are doing, should those black men take responsibility for what the few black men in the community are doing? No, absolutely not. Not gonna happen. We're going to work to get to a place to where it's better, but we can't work to a place to get it better if everything's one-sided. The man, the man, the man. And that's why we're even in this state in the first place, where you even have so many podcasts just like mine talking about what men are tired of. They're tired of this, always being blamed for everything. For everything.
What you want, yeah. We just chillin' by the Wawas, lemonade with the large fries. Puff twice for the calm high, ayy, what you want, yeah. Big checks make the bank bounce. Old school candy paint down. Bad chicks, they from down south. Hey, what you want? Yeah.
Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, BQ Quick Review. I'm your host, BQ, and today we're going to be doing a reaction video to Black Men Must Take Responsibility for Women's Poor Selection. Yeah, this is a video by Daily Wrap Up Crew. Yeah, very dope podcast. Definitely go check them out. Yeah, so this was actually a video sent to me by one of you guys. So if you want me to react to a video, just put it down in the comments. I'll get right to it. Or go to my Instagram at BIQUON and I'll react to the video. But yeah, let's get right into this.
Speaking of that, I've seen a video of yours where you said that feminism has conditioned black women to view black men as the enemy.
It has. Feminism was financed by the CIA. Gloria, what was her name? Gloria Steinem, I think she was.
Right, yeah.
Mother of modern feminism, because traditional feminism goes back to the 1800s, right? With Susan B. Anthony and those white supremacists. But Gloria Steinem was a CIA agent. They financed her. Her first feminist magazine they paid for. The CIA brought feminism into the white household to get the woman out the house and into the black household to turn the black woman against the black man.
Yeah, just want to talk about Dr. Umar Johnson for a second. With Dr. Umar Johnson, my opinion of him has kind of fluctuated, but what my opinion of him right now is, like, I agree with him, I would say majority of the time, but there's a lot of other time I don't agree with him. There's a lot of things that I disagree with, and I think that's okay. I think especially in the black community, we feel like we have to agree on everything or we're against each other, and I don't think that needs to be the case. With him, I'm probably like at a 60-40 or a 70-30, with me being agreeing with him 70 or 60% of the time and the other half not agreeing with him. But yeah, just on what he said, I totally agree with what he said. There was definitely agenda with feminism to use that and bring it into the black homes to take the black woman away from the black man in the household and basically turn them against each other. That was definitely one of those things. There are many articles you can read about it, with feminism trying to use black women as the cover face for feminism. Although feminism, I keep stumbling with that word. Feminism was not meant for the black woman. But yeah, let's continue.
To scapegoat us for problems caused for her by white supremacy.
So, obviously, a big thing, obviously, we spoke about the gender wars, earlier. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation nowadays about, the value of what a woman brings and the value of what a man brings in a relationship. And now there's a lot more rhetoric from our women that we hear is, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, right? So,
That's pain speaking, though.
Right.
Because most black women know they will never get a man. A black woman can have sex whenever she wants.
Right.
Because she's beautiful. She can have a bed mate, but to have a soul mate, she may never get. I have two daughters, 11 and 20, right? My oldest will be 21 this week. Statistically, right? There's a strong chance my daughter could be one of those. I hope she's not. She could be one of those who never get a husband because only 1 out of 4 gets a husband. You see that?
He definitely spit some facts in his first few minutes that, well, just the first minute that this is going on. Sorry, I'm going to be pausing this a lot. We're going to be breaking it down or whatever. I'm going to leave a link so you can just watch it straight through if you want to watch it. But yeah. Yeah, most black women, since they are talking about black women, usually on my channel, I like to talk on a broad thing. I don't like to specifically single out black women. But yeah, since they're talking about black women here, yeah, most black women and just women in general can sleep with many women or whatever. They can get in bed with a lot of women. I mean, they can get in bed with a lot of men who maybe they wouldn't be somebody who would get into a committed relationship with them, but they can definitely get those men in bed, even those like high value men, as they would say a lot. You can get those men in bed, but can you get their commitment? So he's right about that in a sense. But I wonder if he's gonna speak on it regarding like he said that most 1 in 4 black women would be single or whatever. And I think there's a reason for that. You know, I don't think that's just because they're black women. I think it goes into a lot of their traits and stuff. And I think them not being able to date outside of the community because of some stereotypes and things like that. But I think there has to be some sort of accountability with some black women to where they kind of shoot themselves in the foot in terms of the whole dating dynamics. But yeah, let's continue. This is going to be an interesting episode. This is going to be an interesting one.
So when a black woman says, I don't need a man, that is a reaction to the reality that I may not get a man.
So why not preach? Because I understood, you know, you're obviously against interracial relations when it comes to black men with black women. I mean, with white women.
With all women, you should only be with a black woman.
And you will say, well, if you can't find a good woman in America,
go somewhere else. Absolutely.
So why not teach that same rhetoric to our women? Like, if you feel
I tell sisters all the time, go to Africa.
One quick thing, that's one of the stances I don't agree with him with. With the whole dating, I think you should just date whoever is the best person for you mentally, and who's going to be a good wife and a good, good for your kids and everything, good partner to your kids and everything, a good caretaker and stuff. I don't think it really matters the color of the skin or their race, to be honest. That's one of the things we completely disagree with. I've had arguments about this with some friends or whatever, but I think you should just get with the person who is just best for you. You shouldn't be looking at their race. Like me personally, I do prefer black women. But if I was to get with, like, if there was a woman who was white or Latino or anything or whatever, I wouldn't mind getting with them so long as their mindset is right or whatever. I've mostly dated black women, but there's nothing that's like deterring me from dating outside of my race. I think the problem comes when people, men or women, start to bash their own race just to try to get with a different one. Like they'll say, I'll see men say that black women are no good. That's why I got with a white woman, or black men are no good. So that's why I got with a white man or something like that. And that's where I think it's wrong. But if you just want to date somebody outside of your race, I don't think that's a problem. Let's continue.
I know sisters who marry. I just spoke with a sister. She invited me to the wedding. She just married a brother from the continent.
So, but instead of saying they will never get married,
I've taken sisters to Africa who married brothers they met in Africa.
Right.
So yeah,
I think I think there's obviously plenty of black men
and
black women. So
and what I also tell black women, if
married,
you're going to go get you an African man from the continent,
right,
you're going to have to understand that the way in which you talk to black men in America will not be tolerated over there.
Why the fuck is it tolerated?
Hold up.
I beg your pardon?
Well, that's a problem. That's a big problem there. You kind of just ratted yourself out, Dr. Umar. You just ratted yourself out. You're saying that the black women that go over to the continent can't speak like they speak to the woman over here. That means that there's something wrong with the woman in general. So the black men in America just got to take that shit. That's kind of what you're saying. Now, here's where we get into the disagreements now with Dr. Umar Johnson. Black men do not have to tolerate any bullshit from black women. They don't have to tolerate attitude, or we were just talking about women with children. They don't have to tolerate that. And just like if they go to outside of their race or to an African country or whatever and date over there, those men won't tolerate that. And it should be the same. No man wants to tolerate disrespect. No man wants to tolerate another woman's kids, whatever. And vice versa too. I don't think that a woman should be able to tolerate certain things from a man too. So I think this is where we get into like the pandering and stuff that I think Dr. Umar Johnson does. Now we can argue whether he panders a lot of the time. We can do that. I have seen like a video here or there where he does hold women accountable or whatever. So yeah, that's debatable. But yeah, right here, it just seems like he's not gonna hold women accountable when you're saying that when they go overseas, they have to handle, the men over there aren't gonna tolerate that, but the men in America should. That's kind of bullshit. All right.
That's what we're trying to tell them.
Well, over here, I want to say this to us though. Because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for. Let's be honest.
Sure.
The black woman has had to hold down the black house by herself although imperfectly. She's had to do
Okay.
it by herself since the mass incarceration of black males began in the 1970s. You understand
Okay.
me? Most of our children are raised by a single mother right now. And it has been that way for about 50 years. So when a sister says, I don't need a man, because she couldn't find one strong enough to hold her down. Or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm strong enough to be a man. You ain't got to work or you ain't got to pay the bills or whatever. Pull back, I got you. And she can't do it because all the other men before you who disappointed her. So what I'm saying is, black men, we got to be patient with our women because we created that personality. We created that. And then we want to act like we didn't play a role.
We have to be
in the
held
strong-
accountable.
Okay. All right. Before what's his name? Jew goes, that's his name. I just want to say, even from that last line, he kind of contradicted himself, saying that, oh, look, when you go over there, the black men aren't going to tolerate that. So the men in America should just tolerate it. And he does speak some truth to where I do think black men do have to take some responsibility for what for what has happened to black women. We can take that. But just because of what's happened in the past doesn't mean you have to tolerate certain stuff now. Does that mean because we haven't grown up with a father, does that mean that we could act like feminine, act like little bitches and stuff? You know, like, we can't do that. So that's just complete bullshit. That is complete bullshit. Nobody should be tolerating certain stuff just because of your past or whatever, or your trauma and everything. Do we need to give women grace? Sure, we can do that. I think there's a balance to that. Like, I'll say this. I think that black women do deserve some sort of grace in terms of, like, I think when they get mad and things like that, they can be labeled things like the mad black woman, or they're being masculine and things like that. You know, when they're just human, they just get mad just like anybody else. And I think that's a bit unfair sometimes to them. And because of, like, you know, stereotypes and things like that, that even makes it worse. But yeah, I think black women do deserve some grace in terms of that. Like, when they get angry and stuff, like, you know, that's just them being human. They're not going to be all dainty and feminine all the time. They get mad just like any other human. I don't think they need to be labeled the black mad woman or masculine or things like that. Okay. Now, with that being said, should we give grace to disrespect? Absolutely not. You know, there's a difference between a black woman getting mad and a black woman being disrespectful. No man wants to tolerate disrespect from anybody. So whether they're dating here in America or going across in the continent, no man wants to deal with that, and no man should deal with that. And that's where I feel like that's bullshit. We shouldn't take accountability for the stuff, certain things that black women do. We should get with the woman who's made bad choices or whatever, had a very free choice to choose. There are 10 men or whatever, but they chose to choose the bad dude and go with the Pookie or the Ray Ray or something like that. They go with those dudes, and then when they have baby number 1 from him, sure, first baby could be a mistake. Then baby number 2 from them, what are you doing? And then baby number 3 from the same guy, that's not a mistake. And then you want to turn around and go to the guy who's been keeping his life in order and all his responsibility, and expect him to take that bullshit, and then to take the trauma from his past relationships from men who fucked up and impregnated her. And you know that dude has had baby number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with 10 different other women that he's not taking care of. Should black men take responsibility for that? No, absolutely not. And that's not most black men who's doing that. That's a minority of black men who's going around impregnating these women, not taking care of these kids. In fact, most black fathers are active in the home. From my understanding, they're the most active in the home, so with their kids. So yeah, we've been working hard to definitely correct the sins of our fathers. But when are black women going to correct the sins of their mothers? Because we've both contributed. Black women and black men have both contributed to this. And it just seemed like he's just being very one-sided with this. But yeah, let's continue. Let's see what they're going to say.
For their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable. No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection.
How?
See, what you're saying, you're selecting a poor mate. And what I'm saying is they don't have much to select one, so of course you're going to end up with a poor mate. And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need. We are not. They out there killing themselves right now. What we doing about it? Unemployed black males, what we doing about it? Pants sagging, weed smoking, what we doing about it?
So, being said with that, going off of that, what Doctor just said, what Umar just said. So, just because those boys are being raised up like that, and those are the men out there who are killing each other and everything, those men didn't have fathers because their fathers were incarcerated because of the 3-strike rule or whatever has been going on throughout the history in the black community. Should those black men said, oh, I'm only acting like this towards black men because of what happened with our past, you know? No, those men need to take responsibility for those things. And I could eat that. I could take that. But also, black women need to take responsibility for their selection in those men. So I definitely want to see what these guys are going to say, because it just seems like he's just being very one-sided with certain things. And yeah, let's go.
Black men are not raising black boys to be the men our community needs. That is 100% our fault. What I'm saying is she got a right to be angry with us. She got a right to be angry with us. We have not been on our job as black men. If the men are the providers, what have we been providing for our community? I'm not speaking you individually.
Yes.
Because you may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father, but guess what? What are we doing for the community? What are we doing for the children who don't have a father? You don't think the black woman got a right to be angry when she's been raising 2/3 of the kids by herself for 50 years? And the minute she raised her voice, we say she's not humble enough? She had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
I understand that, but she needs
if we was loving our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that? That personality has a history.
If she's picking Pookie and Ray Ray instead of
you're making her a scapegoat.
No, she's picking a scapegoat.
No.
There's good quality men that they ignore.
Why she even got it? Why is there even a Pookie in the selection?
You gotta ask her that.
No. I'm gonna tell you why there's a Pookie in the selection.
Why?
Because black men have abandoned black boys and have allowed social media, white media, athletes, and rappers to raise them.
True.
That's why she would.
I could definitely.
If we never allowed Pookie to develop, she would not have a Pookie. If we're going to be men, the first thing we got to do is take responsibility for why our women feel the way they feel.
I can hear.
And Dr. Umar Johnson is not completely wrong on this. You know, that's why he's not completely wrong on this. You know, I do think that I've had many conversations about this where the black community messes up in certain things like promoting violence and stuff in our community, and the glorification of rap music and violence and people who promote violence in my community, whatever. You know, I think that is a huge problem, whatever. And black men are still working to try to reclaim their image and stuff to try to shy away from that. And it's very hard to do right now. You know, but I think black men do need to take ownership of that and responsibility for that, you know. But that being said, too, that doesn't take away from the selection, women selecting the right men. It doesn't take away from that. If you got a guy who's handling his stuff and then you got the guy who's selling dope on the block or doing this or whatever, and these women choose to go with the dude who's selling dope on the block, and then that dude has baby mama number 1, number 2, number 3, that he is not taken care of, and then the woman decides to be baby mother number 4, how are black men supposed to be responsible for that when there's a black man doing the right thing over there? So I think that's where the whole disagreement is going on here. It's just like, yes, black men aren't saying, nah, we don't gotta take responsibility for nothing. No, we do play a part in it, but I think that black women do also. Black men just can't go into a relationship and say, oh, I can't provide because my fathers were incarcerated unfairly due to the law and this and that. No, we just gonna be looked at as a bitch. Like, there's no black men can't walk around with excuses. We can't. We're very criticized. We've been held to a certain standard, very unfairly too. But we've had to keep going on because of the standard that we were held at. Now, I think that we can't use those things as excuses, you know, to treat a black woman wrong. And I think it's the same thing with a black woman. You can't use those excuses to treat a black woman wrong. You know, if you have trauma and everything from your past, you need to go get therapy, go get help, and settle that before you decide to get with a man, or vice versa. That's what he needs to talk about, getting help. But instead, you're like, oh no, black women, go to the continent and treat those men good instead of treating the men that you live beside good. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
I'm not saying that they're right to disrespect, because even if a woman disrespects me, right? That still don't give me a right to disrespect her, because she's still the queen of the community. Even if she's not acting like it, I'm going to give her that respect. But when I hear brothers talk like this discourse we having now, we act like we don't understand.
No,
there's reasons for that shit.
I do understand. Women are so valuable. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think women ground men and help them, propel to the next level. I think men get further in life with a woman, right? But if I'm a hardworking man, but I'm only looked at as resources,
okay,
and then she's ready to jump on Tom, Dick, and Harry because he got flash, he's shining a little bit more, his access to money is quicker than mine. It's kind of hard to have that.
Well, no, one, I agree with you, but that's not all sisters.
No, it's not.
And if you're constantly running into that type of woman, then the problem is you because you're attracting a certain low vibrational energy.
Why
is
not
that?
that same energy for women? You just again, you held
because
the man
we have a
responsible.
conversation as men.
Yeah,
I got plenty of interviews with all women.
You got a few. Calm down.
But as a man,
you got a few.
You should not be concerned about what I say to them. No, as men, we should be concerned of what we're going to do to produce a better generation of black males for tomorrow. That's the only, that is where we should be focused.
Women bring the choice of life, right? We understand that, right? I can't have a child unless a woman agrees.
And she can't carry one if you didn't put it in her.
I agree with that 100% too, right?
That makes no sense. A guy can't forcibly do anything with a woman without her consent. That's against the law, man. What are you talking about? You say, no, first of all, the woman has to decide, say yes or no to sex. And then two, if she does get pregnant, she has the option to keep it or let it go. Once that happens, the guy loses all choice. He loses all choice. So, no, Dr. Umar, that just doesn't make any sense. Let's continue.
But whether or not, if you want that child or not, she can still make that decision. It's only up to her.
If you don't put a seed in her, nothing else happens. And no woman can make you put a seed in her. So the original act was the responsibility of a man.
True. I mean,
that's arguable. It's like the chicken and the egg
black men
theory.
willingly leave the household, or was it the system that was?
It was systemic.
All right. So how, if we giving them grace for them having to do it without us, but it wasn't our fault, how are we not getting that same grace and that same respect?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Facts.
I'm gonna
Answer
tell you
the
why.
question.
Because black men, as the leaders of the community, now
we can't be leaders.
Here's the question we got to make. Here's the question. Because the argument y'all make feeds into the feminist agenda.
Okay.
It's an argument that says, I don't want the responsibility.
I'm a leader.
I don't want to fix shit.
You didn't answer Ace's question.
I'm going to fall back and let her run everything. That's what the feminists tell. They say, look,
there,
making excuses for why they can't be better men. Making excuses for why they can't make better men.
You didn't answer Ace's
Your
question.
argument feeds the feminist narrative.
That's not what we're making excuses for.
I'm saying I am the better man, but I shouldn't be held responsible because you wanted to choose a Pookie and a Ray Ray. That's
Facts.
not me. I work too hard in
I'm
my
going to go back
life.
to what I said. Pookie and Ray Ray shouldn't exist. And the only reason why Pookie and Ray Ray exist.
Okay. We keep talking about this Pookie and Ray Ray. There's a Pookie and a Ray Ray in every community. In the Spanish community, in the white community, in the Asian community, there's a Pookie and a Ray Ray. There's people in that community. So what are you talking about? There's always going to be Pookies and Ray Rays. There's no eliminating them. That's not going to happen. Has it been more profound in the black community, maybe in other communities? Sure, that's arguable. But here's the thing, that's going to always be in the communities. Those women in the communities have to choose whether to get with those men or get with the men who are doing what they're supposed to. That's up to their choice. And then to also have their kids. You can't put that on black men just as you can't put that on men in other communities. That's bullshit. Complete bullshit. All right, doctor. This is where we get into like the 40% of stuff that I just disagree with him. But yeah, I do have some respect for this guy, but it's just certain things I really disagree with this guy. I really do. Let's continue. Let's see his response. Also, he did not answer Ace's question. He didn't.
Because we're not in the community making those boys the men they need to be. Do you see that? And she don't get a Pookie if you didn't allow a Pookie.
But she got an Eli. She ain't come to Eli. She went to Pookie. And that's
Exactly.
what I'm trying to.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
I worked too hard in my life.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
But Dr. Umar,
men supposed to make the boys.
Right. We as men is holding other men accountable for the same thing that you're talking about right now.
What are we doing for the young brothers in the street? So
what you mean, mentoring them? Now, I mean, he's a great father.
I ain't talking, that's individual. That's good, but that's individualism. Yeah. What are we doing collectively as men
that's a bullshit
to
counter.
change the trajectory for black boys in the streets right now?
No. I'm not gonna let him get past this bullshit. Here's the thing. He's saying that that's what you're doing individually. It starts with the individual. It starts with a mother and a father, and they raise two children. And it's a collective of mothers and fathers who do the same thing. They're saying though they do that individually. Themselves, they create a community from individuals. A community is created from individuals, in different sets of families. So they're doing their job. That's what they're trying to explain. They're saying that's individual. You can't go on take care of everything all at once. It starts with the individual. In any community, it starts with the individual. So that was just a cop-out. And I think that there's a lot of men, and the statistics are showing that men are doing better whether it's financially or being the incarceration or even taking care of their kids, they're trying to correct the sins of their fathers.
Now at 11, breaking negative stereotypes about black fathers. Members of Congress joined a policy meeting to tackle them because they see people hurt by perceptions based on bias.
So they're finding facts to fix the narrative. CBS News Miami's Larry Seward explains.
It's a question 10-year-old Centers for Disease Control research tackled. It found black fathers more involved in their children's lives compared to other racial groups, a fact so obscured by a different narrative. The U.S. House of Representatives member Frederica Wilson, founder of Miami's 5,000 Black Role Models mentoring program, called this policy meeting in the U.S. Capitol to change.
It is very disingenuous the way they are perceived and stereotyped across this nation. And it's time to amplify the message.
Her Congressional Commission on the Social Status of Black Men and Boys plans to attack disparities and misconceptions with more research.
And they're doing it. They're not perfect. You're not going to completely eliminate it. Can we work better? Can we do better? Absolutely. Are men still responsible for some of the things that happen to black women? Sure. And we can talk about that. But when are we going to talk about the sins of the mothers? I'm talking about the women who picked the wrong men when they had the choice to pick the right one. Come on. Let's continue.
I mean,
Nothing.
we're being
but talking shit.
Yeah, I mean, you could take
It's
it.
not going to get better unless we put hands on deck. The reason the athletes and the rappers are the role models is the professional black man moved out the hood. Where the dentist at? He ain't in the black community no more. Where the lawyer at? Where the business owner at? Where your city council person at? We abandon black boys, and then
They
we
do
blame
the same
black
in
men
every
for poor
community,
choices
Dr.
in
Umar
mates
Johnson. What
that
are
they
you
should not
talking
even
about?
have to make if we did a better job raising our boys the right way. At the end of the day, if I'm gonna call myself a man, the ultimate responsibility for reconstruction of the black community rests with me. Yes, they have a role. Yes, they have responsibility. But as a man, as a leader, to say I can't fix this shit unless she changes, that's not the definition of a man.
I don't see. I think we're on two different accords. Like, I don't think we're saying that. What I'm saying is I'm capable of being that leader, that provider. I've worked hard in my life. You get what I'm saying? I should not have to do.
You still going back to individualism.
But I only feel like we tell black men that we have to now deal with masculine women, women with children.
Why is she masculine? Because she's had to raise the kids alone. Not one woman, brother, a whole community.
So you mean to tell me the only woman I can look forward in my life is a masculine woman that has kids by other men?
No,
that's what I have to look forward to?
But I'm telling you, mistakes made by black men systemically gave rise to the conditions that allowed her to be masculine and made her end up with a man that you consider to be less than what he should be. And I'm telling you, black men are responsible for her being masculine because we have not helped her raise them children.
I am
and
not.
when I
Get the
say
fuck
help her
outta
raise them
here.
children,
That is complete bullshit. That is complete bullshit. Okay, let me not say that. There is some truth to what he is saying, whatever. I think that the men who purposely left their households, deadbeats, all those men who are in jail for crimes they shouldn't be out there doing in the first place, I think those men should be held accountable. This basically the sins of our father is what got these black women, a lot of the black women to where they are now. Sure, I can say that and take responsibility for that. Sure. But does it give them the right now to act masculine and to make poor choices in the men that they mate with and have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 babies with them? Should I, as a black man who's doing all the right things, as a black man, which most black men I think are doing, should those black men take responsibility for what the few black men in the community are doing? No, absolutely not. Not gonna happen. We're going to work to get to a place to where it's better, but we can't work to a place to get it better if everything's one-sided. The man. And that's why we're even in this state in the first place, where you even have so many podcasts just like mine talking about what men are tired of. They're tired of this, always being blamed for everything. That's what gives rise to podcasts like this and everything. Now, I don't think that that's an excuse to disrespect women and especially disrespect black women or whatever. I think we can have civil dialogue and talk to each other about our disagreements on what we need to work on with each other. But we can't talk about that shit if it's just men doing everything. Come on.
I don't mean you as the stepdad. I mean you as an active member in the community where we go to every single parent black mother and say, how many sons you got? 2? How many sons you got? 2? Well, guess what? That's your son's big brother? That's your son's big brother?
No.
He taking him to
Absolutely.
school.
No.
He doing the homework.
No,
He gonna
I
spend a
don't
couple
agree with
hours
that.
with him every Saturday. He got his own kids too, but he gonna make time for you. She
Black
got
men don't wanna
masculine
do
because she
that,
had to
and they
become
shouldn't have
masculine
to.
in order
They
to
don't
deal
wanna
with
do
the
that.
rape, the abuse, the domestic violence, the disappointments that men had in their life, and also raising those kids and have to take care of herself all at the same time. The black woman has been the be-all, in-all in our community for half of a century, and now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough when she had to absorb our responsibilities plus her own, that's insensitive and disingenuous.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I can't.
I guess I do
I don't
understand.
agree with
I understand what you're saying.
I'm not
And
taking
you
nothing
have
back from
yet
that.
to tell me something that we've
There
done
is some-
systemically to combat that.
Because
Because you keep saying me and her. I don't care about me and her.
But there's plenty
women and men. Women and men as a group in the community. You understand?
Right.
We gave birth to that. You see? So you say she had a couple kids already because she met men. She probably thought they was good. Some of them, they left her.
She knew they wasn't good.
You don't know that, brother.
She know that.
You're
No,
making
thank you,
assumptions
Eli.
about her. Would you
She
make
know
the
they
same
wasn't.
assumption if she was a white woman?
Yes, I was.
Yes.
So you say.
No,
Come on, man. Nah. Come on,
Hold
man.
women accountable.
So you say.
Listen,
Come on,
like I said, I feel like as a black
We
man,
don't hold them all accountable because black men date outside their race more than every other man put together.
That's some
Y'all-
bullshit. That was some bullshit, Dr. Umar Johnson. That was some bullshit. Black men are married to black women 80% of the time. 80% they're married. 80% or more black men are married to a black woman. That is not true. Maybe if you want to talk about the celebrities or whatever, I don't know the statistic on celebrities, but most black men are with black women. Get the fuck out of here. That is some bullshit propaganda we've been fed for years and years, and it's just not true. It's not true. If anything, who dates the people who date out of their race the most actually are white men and Asian women, not black men. So I don't know where he's getting this like statistic and his thought from. Whatever. This is just more shit just to put down black men for no fucking reason. So yeah, this is where I completely disagree with this guy, man. Come on. Like, let's continue. I want you guys, once this video's done, because he's not completely wrong about everything he's saying. He's not. So I really want to see you guys' thoughts about everything he's saying in the comments or whatever. And I know that a lot of women watch my channel. I just looked at the analytics, and yeah, I want to see y'all thoughts because I did see that people were kind of divided on this particular video when I looked at a few comments and stuff. So yeah, I want to see your thoughts on this because maybe I'm not right. I'm really, maybe I'm not right about a couple of things. So maybe you guys can educate me down in the comments. But yeah, I don't agree with him so far. Let's continue.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
I
But
can't disprove that because I don't know you personally.
Even that,
But-
if we look at the numbers, black men marry black women at an 87% rate, where black women marry outside of their race, or they marry outside at a 92%.
Black women
That's
do
only
not. No, you're
that's
wrong.
percentages
You're
apart.
wrong.
That's not that much.
Black women
No,
do
they
not
don't
marry
marry
out the race
outside
more than
of
black
race,
men.
92%.
I'm
That's
not
wrong.
saying that, but the percentages
Black
ain't that
women,
far off. That's
black
what I'm saying.
women have one of the highest.
Wait. I should have let him finish what you're saying, but no, yeah, I think Eli might have tripped over his words right there. No, black men do date outside of their race more than black women. That is true, but most black men are still with black women. I think that's what Eli should have said. But if we had to compare the two, who's dating out of the race more, then yes, Dr. Umar Johnson is right. Black men are dating out of the race more, but at what percentage? A much lower percentage than it seems. Whatever, at 80+% of the time, black men are with black women. But it seems like he's trying to make it seem like the black man dates out of their race more than any other race. Maybe I could be wrong and misinterpreting it, but that's what it seems like, and that's just not true. Let's continue.
Fastest growing interracial marriage rates. But her interracial marriage rate pales in comparison to what black men have been doing interracially for 4 or 5 decades. You understand? She don't even come close to what we're doing
And
interracially.
black fathers are in the home more than any other group or race.
Okay. But what
That has no value.
it does have value, but we're going to put that up against the other statistic. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the
trying to
women.
fix that.
And like I said, when I
Wait,
say
no,
being
no.
raised, I'm
The
not saying there needs to be a
statistic he just
father. I
said
would like a
counted
father in
that.
that house,
Yeah.
but I know it's not enough of us to go around.
Yeah.
We are not even being accountable to the boys in the hood. And we're complaining
That's
about
something
the
we can
women
take accountability for.
I
Sure.
argue with women
who
all
are
the
making babies with the irresponsible men that we
can't
didn't raise
stop them from
correctly.
doing that.
That's bullshit.
All right.
That's wimp ass weak man shit. Take responsibility for our shit. Stop
We cannot
scapegoating
control
them.
Yeah, I
who
could
a woman
agree- I could
sleeps
agree
with,
to
man.
that.
All I'm saying is look at all we could
I
be
don't
doing
think he's
better,
realizing
man.
that.
Half the black boys in the 4th grade can't read. What black men doing about that systemically?
Not enough.
I know what I'm doing about it. I'm building a school for it, two of them.
work on
But systemically, as black men, what are we doing about that? Nothing. Black boys are the most unemployed teenager in America. What black men doing about that? See, the Pookie and Ray Ray you kept talking about? We letting them raise right before our eyes, and then we want to criticize us for ending up with one when we should have made sure there were none.
Listen, we all got
There's
choices, just like if I
always
choose to
gonna be
live a
Pookies and
lifestyle
Ray
that
Rays
could,
in every community.
I can't. That's part of choices.
No, it's not. We have to deal with this systemically. He brought up a question earlier, and he said, did we make these problems on our own, or was there some systemics involved? It was systemics.
Okay.
In 1970, they shut down the factories. They took out the industrial building jobs. 1980,
men
dropped
can't
off the
make
crack and
excuses
the
not
AIDS.
to do what they gotta do for
the
that
Bill Clinton crime bill.
and treat
There's
women
systemic
wrong.
factors at play.
So why can't you do the same for a woman?
Divorce your analysis from any systemic factors at all. You ain't mentioned one. You keep talking about her and Pookie and Ray Ray with the kids. You ain't say shit about the systemics. That's exactly what white folks want you to do. That's what white folks want you to do.
I'm saying that I
ignore
have made-
what I've done to your women and scapegoat her. Because that's what she's doing to you. She's ignoring
not
what the
what's
system did to
happening.
you. And she's going to scapegoat you.
And
We're
they-
both
and-
scapegoating each other.
Okay,
Am I
that's
lost
fair.
here, guys?
Your
That's not what's
analysis is
happening?
feeding the gender war. It's not solving it.
Listen,
I don't mind us holding the women accountable. I don't mind us holding the men accountable.
Right?
Yeah.
But when we going to hold the
Okay.
system accountable as well.
That's fair.
And if we're going to hold the system
Okay,
accountable,
sure.
that also means we got to make our own systems too. Black men have not been manly in quite some time when it comes to raising boys.
How would you suggest that black men take on the role of leadership
Especially when there's an
Good
attack on
question.
black
Yeah.
masculinity.
without women willing to listen to us? You get what I'm saying? How do we prove our worth or take back the
Take care of
leadership
the boys.
role?
You want the women back? Take care of these damn boys. They run in the hood, killing people at will, flunking out of school, following the lead of the gangster rappers. There's a whole bunch of stuff we can do that ain't got nothing to do with the women, boys and men. Do you understand?
I'm gonna just let it
Deal
finish
with the
out.
boys and the men. Leave her out of it and go straight to the boys. And you'll get her respect back. Give them jobs, give them education, give them training, give them your time. They not getting none of that from black men. We don't give a shit about black boys. And then we gonna get mad at her for ending up with one later in life. It's ridiculous.
Not,
You
like I said,
create
we
the
get,
product and get mad for her for ending up consuming the product.
she could consume whatever she wants. I'm just saying, as a black man,
It's not about her consuming whatever she wants, brother, because if we're trying to fix the black community, everybody and everything matters. It's
And that's
not individual.
understandable.
You're an
But what-
individualist. You're not thinking as a community. Your
It
whole
starts with
analysis
an
is based
individual.
on me and her. Step out of that shit. This is systems at play. You understand?
Right.
Multiple black men screwed up. Multiple black women screwed
Yes.
up. You understand me?
Yes.
Look at the systemic nature and say, what system do we need to create as black men to prevent the Pookie and Ray Ray from coming into existence?
Okay, that's the end of the video right there. That was a very interesting video right there. This is actually a whole hour-long podcast, so definitely go on the channel, finish watching it. There's some things I agreed with what he said here, and some things I disagreed with. And he's not completely wrong about what he's saying too. So I don't want to make it seem like that. But yeah, there's some truth to what he's saying in terms of like the history and even the things that our forefathers have done before us to damage the black community. You know, but can we blame those systematic things and say, hey, let's treat the black woman wrong for that? No, we can't use that as an excuse. And I don't think black women should use that as an excuse to be masculine and disrespectful and things like that. Absolutely not. If we're going to grow as a community, we have to focus on an individual. He's talking about the little boys and stuff rolling in the streets and doing this and that. And I agree with him. Those things do need to be changed. And it is up to black men as the masculine part of our community to help change those things. But it starts with having a black man who is around their child and raising that child in the home. And Jew brought up a statistics to counter that, which is black men are the most active in their children's lives. So that's step one. Black men are doing step one, trying to be around their kids to get those kids to do the right things or whatever. Now he's talking about just going around and just telling random black women, you're my brother and this and that. No, I don't think we should do. I don't think it's a random black dude's responsibility to take care of some random kid. I don't like that's just ridiculous. But yeah, I do think in order to fix the things in a community as a whole, we need to focus on us individually, and those individuals can help those in their immediate circle or can hold those accountable in their immediate circle, and that will make a change. If 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, men, try to create families, you know, you're going into the right step. So yeah, I think he's missing the point that in order for things to be fixed as a whole, it starts with the individual, you know. But yeah, there was so much in this video. I did agree with a lot of stuff. There's so much history or whatever that goes behind what's going on in the black community. I could talk about it for hours and stuff. But yeah, I definitely know my history and everything like that. I've always kept up on my history, and he's definitely kept up with his. He does know what he's talking about on certain topics and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a good video. I like this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you disagreed with something I said or anything Dr. Umar Johnson said, definitely comment below, because I see there's definitely a divide on this one. But yeah, I definitely look forward to see what you guys say in the comments. BQ quick review. Now we do.
Pick up the pieces and patches, I gotta be, cause the edges are jagged. I do not call my piece lessons with real beef, they be squeezing them ratchets. You not the same person that you on internet, I've been smelling some catfish. Don't condone violence, cause we move in silence, you know that they got it like Metal Gear Solid. Pick up the pieces and patches, I gotta be, cause the edges are jagged. I do not call my piece lessons with real beef, they be squeezing them ratchets. You not the same person that you on internet, I've been smelling some catfish. Don't condone violence, cause we move in silence, you know that they got